Welcome to Quiz a Millionaire featuring Drive Time with Dave.
Good morning. It's Drive Time with Dave. I'm Dave. I'll be your driver. Today is January 23rd, 2017, webisode 23. Today, I'm going to tell you a story. It's not story time. This was accident time. I decided to overstep my bounds at home and press the self-clean button on the oven. I did not know that our oven was a storage unit for whatever was being stored in it, till that item caught on fire. Pressed self-clean button, left the house, the alarm company called, house was filled with smoke. Very harrowing experience. So that was my accident story. Yes. And the house was fine. Got back home. It was a pan of oil for some reason was being stored in the oven. I don't know why people would store a pan of oil in the oven. I don't know. No idea. Okay. So, let's get that out of there. This is kind of just on my mind this morning. All right. So, accounting software. That's the first question of its kind. And I was so enamored that I was like, wow, accounting software. Accounting software to me, I don't know, like, I'm not really sure what outside of, hey, what accounting software do you use? I personally use QuickBooks. QuickBooks will do everything that you need done to, huge numbers. I don't do the whatever the cloud QuickBook thing is. I pay whatever, I don't know, it's like $179 for last year's version because I don't need this year's version. A lot of the tax code changes that go into QuickBooks doesn't apply to what we do. So, the next question that come up about accounting, which this is kind of, everybody's just pushy. They want to talk about Tax Tuesday, but today's Monday, so I'm not doing it. Oh yeah, see, I say taxes, that's it. I almost have to stop and get out of the car, because anyway, we talked about that yesterday. Taxes are just very upsetting. I get so upset. My video is very shaky. I need to fix it. Okay. Maybe I've gotten rid of the shaky camera. I can't tell. Okay, so, the accounting question, the camera shaking's screwed me up. So I was talking about I just buy my last year's version of QuickBooks because tax code changes don't apply to me or you. Because there's very, very little of that. I mean, what we do is pretty cut and dry. We're going to buy it, we're going to sell it, we're going to make a profit, and then we're going to pay tax on that profit. Pretty cut and dry. And again, tomorrow I'll go into way more detail about the whole process. But so that was the basic question. There's, I don't know, hundreds of different accounting type software out there. Years ago, I tried something called Peachtree, but I didn't like it. It was a double entry accounting system. Did not enjoy that one bit. So moved over to QuickBooks, and I've used QuickBooks for 10 years. 10 years works. And so as far as the entry side of what we're doing, the next question that come in was about tracking your purchases. So yesterday I talked a little bit about average costing, and in that area, you go and you buy 100 pieces for $100. You can put in that you bought 100 pieces for $100. $1 each. And then you sell 5 pieces, right? So right now you're going, well, how do I know what 5 pieces? It doesn't matter. They were $1 each. Doesn't matter. And next week you buy another 100 pieces. So you put in another 100 pieces for $100. And whatever your purchase dollar figure is for that number of items, you create an item location in there that just says widget, item, thing, thingy mabobber thingy. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter until you get to the point where you actually need that level of detail. Did I sell that blue and white striped shirt that was behind me yesterday? Until you need to know that you sold that item. Another way that I've done it, I don't do it this way anymore, but I have, because it seemed to make a lot of sense at the time. And it still kind of makes sense right now. You buy 100 items and you put them in 1 through 100. You actually call your items the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sequentially. And the next week you do it again starting at 200. And each week you buy 100 items, 50 items, 20 items, whatever. You just start at that number. Then your inventory control becomes based on that number. So you can actually go into QuickBooks and look up that number if you really wanted to, instead of trying to go, did I call this a blue and white striped shirt? Is this a white and blue striped shirt? There's a lot of variations to the way everybody describes something. So I'm just thinking that it'd probably be easier for you to start off, because even if you go through 2,000 or 3,000 items in the next 12-month period, 4,000, 5,000, you get to 500 items a month, and you're cruising into that huge 5,500 6,000 number range. So anywhere in that area, you can just keep going by numbers, and it would be easier. Because at some point, let's just say, wow, Dave, that's a great idea. It's not a great idea, but let's just say, wow, that's a really great idea. That really solves a whole bunch of my problems. I'm very excited. This is great. Okay, I've got 1,000 pieces of inventory. Oh, good. So my number got ripped off of half of them because the wind blew the numbers off. You could have barcoded those items based on that number, and you could use a hand scanner where you could then scan those items in and out. Once you and this is just based on, once you get to the point where you're having to 10 key, because you've done, next year you've done 10,000 items and your numbers, 9,999. You get to a point where it doesn't make sense for you to have to keep typing in those inventory numbers. You can then barcode out those numbers, and you start scanning everything by printing out your own barcode labels, because at that point your inventory's gotten you've probably got a pretty large inventory, and you've probably got a pretty large sales volume itself. So if you set a goal, and this goes back to goals, so we're going to go back, like last week, I was really heavy on, listening and paying attention. That was one of my big problems. This part I didn't have a problem with. Set the goal that I'm going to add on at least 50 pieces of inventory a week, or 100 pieces a week. And you're going to do that no matter what's selling. And I touched a lot on the what's selling yesterday. When it doesn't sell, how long is it going to set in your inventory? Yeah, blah, 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 blah. We already talked about it. So when it's aged out and you're like, man, I've got a bunch of money in these 400 items over the last month and they're not selling. So you put them up and they're sitting there and they're not selling. And you're like, wow, did I make some bad choices? Well, before we start thinking about you've made bad choices or beating yourself up, what you can do is you pick yourself up and you go, okay, straighten myself up and see a little bit. I'm going to change all of my titles. And I'm going to fluff up my descriptions. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at my pictures. Maybe you were sleepy when you took those pictures. Maybe you were listening to one of my videos and I was like, you're like, oh my God, this guy, I can't even stay awake. This guy's putting me to sleep. Maybe that's what happened. So your pictures weren't so good, or your descriptions weren't so good. So I just wanted to add that back in from yesterday. So we're going to try a few things before we give up on our inventory. And you start thinking about taking a 501c from a local charitable organization. Don't take the clothes back to wherever you bought them from. You may be inclined to buy them again because you liked them so much the first time, and that would make it impossible for you to keep track of what you've bought and donated back. Make sure you donate to an organization, charity, that you would not try to get any additional inventory from. That would not be fun. Right? Okay. So, accounting software, I have, very little opinion on. I don't know about paying monthly. I suppose it's cheaper for people, but I'm not really sure how it's cheaper when for, $150 or $200 you can buy the 2015 version of QuickBooks. I'm sure it's like $150. I have no idea. I haven't even looked. And then if you get really excited and you want to upgrade it, I think they charge, $30 or something to upgrade it. I don't think upgrades very much. And you can do bulk entries or line item entries. I don't recommend, first starting off when it's you and your wife, or your wife and you, or you're the wife. Make sure I get this right. You're the wife, and your husband is your do boy. I don't think that sounded very nice, but I'm a do boy at home. All I do is what I'm told. That's it. So, whatever she tells me, that's what I do. That's how I operate. It keeps me safe, and then I don't have to sleep with one eye open. Right? Okay. So, we can line item. We bulk entry. I go with the bulk entry. You've got all your receipts. This is all part of accounting. I was always a shoebox guy. I love a shoebox. Yes, I had stacks of shoeboxes with receipts and invoices, and I would label those shoeboxes. That was my filing system. Because I'd never had anybody teach me how to do filing, and I got to be honest, it worked very, 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 very well. I was never a file folder or filing cabinet kind of guy. I had a shoebox that said receipts, and when that box got full enough, I would have another one that said receipts. And then I would fold up invoices and put in another shoebox. So I had all these shoeboxes stacked up. And that's how I tracked everything. And at the end of the year, if you've bought 5,000 pieces and you've spent $5,000 and you sold it for $10,000, your fees and shipping come out of that. And let's just say your fees and shipping are, 18%, including your mailers, boxes, bags, tape, labels, maybe. It's rounded up to 20%. You take 20% out of $10,000. It's a big number. I'm struggling to do the math on 20%. Once you remove that number, you take out your $2,000. You take out your cost. You know how much money you made, right? So, with that money left over, that becomes the income that you've made. Then you can work down to figure out exactly how much you were left with out of, we'll call them administrative fees. Sims, you can't talk about accounting without sliding into tax talk. So that's basically it. So add up all your receipts. That's it. I mean, your the accounting is pretty simple. That's all there is to it. When I first started out, I put in my purchase amount, my sales amount, and at that time I didn't have fees. Now we put in our eBay fees, our Amazon fees, we put in our shipping, we put in our box cost. How do you do that? Because it's a bulk entry. So it goes in, if I buy boxes once a month, and say once a month I buy, my current box cost, I don't know, it's like $15,000. So I put $15,000 in a month. That's my box cost. Right? So I just do a bulk entry. It doesn't matter whether I bought, 5,000 boxes or one box for $15,000. Because at the end of the year, when it's time to do your taxes, what matters is you bought it, you sold it, and what was left over. And then we'll get into breaking down what's left over into the appropriate categories so you can pay the appropriate amount of taxes. Oh God, so I can't even keep going now. Can't keep going. Okay. This morning's drive time presented by Dave. I'm Dave. I was your driver. Was not very eventful. It's very boring when you start talking about accounting and alluding into taxes, inventory. It's all boring stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully I'll have a whole bunch of comments and questions and new subscribers this afternoon. Like and share and subscribe, and then I'll make another video this afternoon with any updates. Thanks so much.